It's the day after Nebraska's nail-biting season opener victory versus Cincinnati at Arrowhead Stadium. The Huskers got it done 20-17, and man oh man, over these past couple hours, I've rewatched the game, looked over the stats, and I've come up with 5 massive nuggets that we learned yesterday and where the Huskers go from here. So really quick, if you're excited about starting off our season with the dub, I know I am, hit that like button. And also, if you're a diehard Nebraska fan and you're not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Now is the time. Listen, this is the only place this season where you get daily content talking Huskers, talking your favorite team. It's no brainer, takes 2 seconds. Join this family, hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much. But without further ado, we have a lot to talk about. Nebraska's undefeated. We are 1-0. Yes, it was a sloppy game. It was not perfect. We'll get into all of it. But with that being said, we are still perfect on the season. Everything is still in front of us. We control our own destiny. And I want to get things started on a positive note. We'll get to some of the concerns, some of the things that we learned later. But I want to start things off with, in my opinion, the biggest nugget that we learned in yesterday's victory. This secondary is legit for the Huskers. Now, go back to where we were a couple months ago, even to the start of spring practice. That was one of our biggest concerns. They were getting torched by the wide receivers every single day. You even go back to fall ball, week 1 and week 2. The report from practice that this secondary, it's not looking very good, particularly with the corners. That was not the case yesterday. They heard the concerns. They heard the noise. Cincinnati only threw for 69 yards in the air. And you go to some of our specific players. Andrew Marshall was locked down. They targeted him very early on in the ball game. He was phenomenal. See, you're right. They barely went after him because he was locking things down in both man and zone coverage. I thought Deshaun Singleton arguably was our best player, not only on defense, but maybe in the entire game yesterday. He was all around the football. Marcus Buford was solid. Malcolm Hartzog, yes, he was off and on, but when it mattered the most, we know what he did, got that interception that sealed the game. So listen, we have a lot of concerns about this defense, and a lot of them are valid, but there's one thing that I'm not worried about the rest of the season. It's the secondary, because we know with John Butler, with his background, with the Houston Texans, with the Penn State Nittany Lions, with the Buffalo Bills, he knows how to scheme up the secondary. You have a great coach there in Addison Williams. You have great players all over the field. And at the end of the day, they also made it matter when it counted, right? When the game got tight, they made a crucial play to get the victory. The defensive line, they didn't do that. The linebackers, they didn't do that. The offense, at times, they didn't do that. The secondary stepped up and made that winning play, and that's really all that matters. So I thought the secondary, they were absolutely phenomenal. But again, they're going to be tested as this year progresses. You're going to play against a lot better wide receivers. You're going to play the Penn States of the world. You're going to play against the Michigans of the world. So you're hoping they can do that again. But I mean, simply put, Cincinnati's receivers, they weren't very good, but you got to continue what they did today with forcing turnovers, tackling at a high level. You can't give up any big plays, and you got to be clutch in winning moments. Now going over to a not so positive thing that we learned in yesterday's performance. Let's just call it what it is. This defensive line is a huge question mark. Now, I went back and I rewatched the third and fourth quarter. Honestly, the only reason why Cincinnati was even in this ballgame is because their defensive line had one of the worst performances they've had probably in the last decade. They couldn't do anything. They couldn't get to the quarterback at all. We barely had any pressure on Brent Scoresby. We couldn't stop the run. Tally Walker had millions of holes. And not only that, but Scoresby ran all over us too. We had about 100 rushing yards. He was their rushing leader on the day. So we need just somebody, anybody, to step on this defensive line. And I get it. It's week 1. I'm not going to overreact. This defensive line needed it. It's not doomed. It's still a very young group. Again, you got Keona Davis, who's only going into his 2nd year. You have, Riley Van Poppel only going into his 3rd year. Williams-Nwaneri only going into his 2nd year. Like, it is a very young unit. So I know there's a lot of people overreacting. Oh, our defensive line screwed. It's going to be fine. But it can't perform like it did yesterday. Because yesterday wasn't good enough. And that's the reason why Cincinnati was in the ballgame, is because when it was a crucial 3rd down, Scoresby would have all the time in the world in the pocket, and then he'd go out and get 5 yards with his legs, 10 yards with his legs. Okay, we couldn't do anything there. So really, I was not impressed with the defensive line. That's the reason why Cincinnati, they stayed in the ballgame as long as they did. Now, there's one player I really thought had a good performance who people really weren't talking about, Williams-Nwaneri. With all the question marks around him, he was really the only player on this defensive line who was worth the darn. He had a couple of crucial stops. He set the edge. He got some pressures in there as well. So Williams-Nwaneri, was he perfect? Absolutely not. But out of all the defensive linemen, I was most impressed with him. Now, as for the guys I was not impressed with, some of the veterans. Elijah Judy was awful yesterday. I mean, I haven't seen the Pro Football Focus grade just yet. I'd imagine he was one of the worst graded players. I mean, he did nothing yesterday. Riley Van Poppel did not play some very good snaps either. So I thought the edges played actually decent. Keona Davis had some good snaps here and there, but the interior line, I'm talking like the nose tackles, the 3 techs, Not great. Not very good. So again, Terry Brown, he's got to prove it because he's a brand new defensive line coach. He's not a very good recruiter. We know that, but we thought he was a good developer. We thought he was a good game planner. Well, that's not the case either. Again, it's only week one. We're not freaking out about the defensive line. I mean, that's a huge question mark. You can't have a weak defensive line in the Big Ten because you're going to get exploited pretty early on. Going to the third thing that we learned yesterday, let's talk about our quarterback, Dylan Raiola, because there was a lot of good, but there also was a lot of bad. There were some huge concerns. So, you look at the stat sheet, it was pretty clean. It was pretty impressive. He was 33 for 42. He had 250 yards passing. He had 2 touchdowns. If you only look at the box score and you don't watch the game, you'd think Dylan Raiola had a heck of a performance. But really, when you watch the film, when you look back on especially the second quarter in particular, it wasn't very good, right? He had some moments where it wasn't necessarily the accuracy. Like, I thought his accuracy was improved. He missed some guys sometimes, but the accuracy was fine. It was the processing. I know last night when I was on my live stream, I got comments about how we weren't aggressive enough on offense. We were aggressive, but Dylan Raiola, there were a couple times where he just missed open guys. Haarberg was wide open over the middle in the fourth quarter on a key conversion. He didn't find Haarberg. Nyziah Hunter was open a couple times, didn't find Nyziah. So really, there'd be times where he would just lock in on one guy and you wouldn't find the open guy right over the middle or even a deep shot. So really, Dylan Raiola working on his processing, continuing to read defenses at a high level. That's really the big thing there. And also, there were just some stupid mistakes that Dylan made. You go back to, the pick six he almost threw. It was a 4th down and 2, and he did not see the opposing defender just shooting right at him. Literally almost threw a pick six. We're lucky that he dropped that football, or else it would have been going the other direction. And then also, he fumbled the football very early on, and he's lucky it went back in his pocket. So again, Dylan wasn't perfect. He held us back just a little bit. Like, there were some times where, if we maybe had a different quarterback, we probably would have won by maybe 10 points, 17 points. But at the end of the day, again, it's only week one. He's going to be a lot better than what he was week one, against Michigan. He's going to be a completely different quarterback. So we're hoping that the only thing that I can hope from Dylan is that he understands it's not a finished product. I don't need him to be cocky. I don't need him to, think, oh, I beat Cincinnati, I'm on top of the world. I need Dylan to understand that he was not good yesterday. He was fine. He was not elite yesterday. He's not the quarterback he needs to be. In order to have that mindset, you need to understand what you're doing wrong, fix that going forward, always try to improve yourself. But Dylan, again, it wasn't perfect. It's mostly just the processing issues, but also just lapse of adjustment at times. But accuracy wasn't too bad. I think he had a beautiful fade ball to Nyziah Hunter for that touchdown. So accuracy, I was impressed with that. All right, let's go quick fire. This segment, 4 segments, just quick fire, all the things that I saw yesterday. I thought Emmett Johnson played really well. Was he phenomenal? No, but again, 100 yards on the ground, averaged about 4.5 yards a carry. Very, very solid. But besides him, this running back core, the depth, tough. It's not very good. And that's kind of something that I told you guys all fall camp. Mekhi Nelson, while he's talented, he's not a very smart running back. There would be times yesterday where Mekhi Nelson would have a hole and he wouldn't shoot through it because he didn't see it. The vision's not there yet. And Isaiah Mozee, he's still very raw. He's still making that transition. So the running back core is not good. And while I liked seeing Emmett Johnson get 25 carries yesterday, you can't have him get 25 carries every single game, because in the Big Ten, you're going to get wore down pretty quickly and you're going to get injured. And I'm telling you right now, if Emmett Johnson gets injured, we are a one-dimensional passing offense, and that's not a good look for us. And that's not going to result in too many victories. So we need this running back to have to figure itself out. I thought the wide receivers looked good. Nyziah Hunter had a good performance. He was our best receiver yesterday, honestly. Dane was solid. Luke Lindenmeyer, run after catch ability was great. He had a stiff arm in there. He had a truck in there. Luke Lindenmeyer had a good performance. Janiran was playing all right until he blew out his knee. I think he might be out for the season when I was rewatching that tape. So hopefully Janiran's back, but if he is, it's not going to be until the end of the year. It just looks really bad there. And honestly, Jacory Barney, I was a little bit disappointed. Jacory, he didn't have as big of a usage as I thought he was going to have, especially in the punt return department, but he was still fine. This receiver core living up to expectations. Offensive line, I thought they were fine. Dylan didn't get pressured too much, but you got to fix the penalties. That was a huge issue. The penalties continued to come up, which was the case all of fall ball. Linebackers were okay. I was a little bit disappointed. Marquez, Watson, Trent didn't have the impact I was expecting, but Finn Shavers, man, he had a game-changing forced fumble that really flipped the script for us. I thought Dana Holgerson was okay. Again, he tried to dial up some big plays, but again, it wasn't there. Cincinnati, that was part of their game plan, was stopping the big passing attack from Nyziah or Dane. They had 2 high safeties the entire game. They had to cover 3 shells, so that was part of their game plan. They succeeded. Credit Cincinnati where credit's due, but it's not that we weren't aggressive as an offense. It's simply it wasn't open. So, but I thought Dana Holgerson was fine. I think the only thing is that he wasn't as aggressive as I wanted him to be. Okay, there were times where I wanted to go on 4th down, or these stupid mistakes with the penalties, right? That needs to clean itself up and being more efficient again. 3rd, 4th down, that efficiency needs to improve. But other than that, I thought Holgorsen was fine. John Butler, I mean, let's just call it what it is. His debut was not very good. His first real debut, he threw out a lot of blitzes at Cincinnati, really didn't work. I think the worst part about him yesterday with John Butler, the play calling wasn't phenomenal. The situational defense was not phenomenal. Whenever Cincinnati needed a score, they went down and got a score. And also, the thing about John Butler, why do we never have a quarterback spy on Sorsby? Like, we only put a spy in the final 2 drives of the game. We didn't start off the game with a spy. It's like he didn't know that he was a mobile quarterback. Like, he ate us alive with his legs. So again, we couldn't get pressure as it stands. Like, why didn't we just have Jalen George out there, on a quarterback spy? That could have neutralized him for the majority of the game. We would have been just fine. It's just the small things like that. So again, it's his first game. We're not freaking out, but I was definitely a little bit disappointed with John Butler. And then Mike Eckler did a good job as special teams coordinator. I saw this great tweet. Kevin Gallick is doing a good job, our new long snapper, when you never hear his name. When you're not even thinking about Kevin Gallick. That's how you know he's doing a good job. We hit a 50-yard field goal. We went perfect there. Archie Wilson was phenomenal. Yeah, special teams is good. The only thing that we did bad was we kicked the ball out of bounds in the kickoff, which was John Hull, and he got promptly benched after that and didn't kick off the rest of the game. So honestly, coaching staff did okay, besides probably John Butler and Terry Braden. All right. Let's talk about the silver lining, because there's a lot of mixed responses right now on social media. There's a lot of people who are just excited about the victory. They're excited to be 1-0. And there's also a lot of people, maybe including myself, who are a little bit pessimistic, who are saying, okay, it wasn't a perfect game, and we weren't the team that maybe we thought we were going to be. We didn't cover the spread. We didn't win by 3 touchdowns. Are we a college football playoff team right now? Probably not. Okay, and I agree with those people. But I'll tell you this. It wasn't a perfect game. You're correct. We didn't blow them out. You're also correct. But we're 1-0. Okay, we control our own destiny. And I'll tell you this right now. Oregon, last year, their first game of the season, they played Idaho, and they barely won. They probably should have lost the game. They played an FCS squad at home. They barely won. They ended up going undefeated in the regular season. Every single year, Iowa, they start off with a clunker team, and they barely win 13-10, or they'll win 7-3, something stupid like that, and Iowa will roll out and win 9-10 games. Okay, anything can happen in week 1, and it's always going to be sloppy in week 1. Week 1 does not define you. Okay, what defines you is getting the victory first off, which we did, and number 2, the adjustments that you make going forward. So we better hope that Matt Rule, John Butler, Dana Holgorsen, all these players understand that, yes, it's great to get a victory. It's great to be 1-0, but you got to make adjustments, and you got to continue to improve. We're going to have 2 easy victories these next 2 weeks. That's awesome, but then we have a very tough test. Michigan, that's going to be a hard game. They're going to be ranked. We're going to be at our place, okay? We don't get, an easy game to start off Big Ten play. We don't get a Rutgers. We don't get a Purdue. No, we play a ranked squad who's going to be in the mix to win this conference. We got to be on our A game, or else we're going to fall short and we're going to get embarrassed on national television. So listen, don't be pessimistic. We're 1-0. The team that we are right now is not the team we're going to be against Michigan. You better believe that right now. We are going to make some fixes, okay? I believe Nebraska, they're going to fix the penalties from now to then. We're going to fix the run game in particular. The only thing I'm worried about, can we fix the defensive line? And I don't have that answer. I believe at this point in time, I told you guys the defense will define the season for Nebraska. I still buy that to this day. The defense will define our trajectory, but I'll take it one step further. The defensive line is going to dominate, and it's going to, the defensive line is going to determine our trajectory, specifically the defensive line. If the defensive line can break out as the year progresses, I still believe we're a 9-10 win team. But if the D-line continues to struggle and we start to get exploited against these run-heavy teams like a Minnesota, like a Michigan, like a Penn State, yeah, you're correct. We're probably only going to win 6 or 7. So, yes, it's important to understand our flaws. Yes, we should be concerned about some aspects of this team. We are not a perfect squad, but just know it's week 1. It happens. It happens to every team in America, and fixes will be made. And specifically this defensive line, it's young. It's young, and they're going to figure it out. You best believe that. So, again, we're 1-0 right now. Enjoy it. Enjoy the highs. Enjoy the lows. I'll tell you this. We're going to lose games this season. It's going to happen. We're not going to be perfect. Don't be mad right now. Don't be mad that, we didn't cover the spread. Okay, you're going to have reasons to be sad soon enough. It's just going to happen. Enjoy the wins, because we only get so many wins, right? We know this as Nebraska fans. You got to enjoy every single one of them. I know I am. So let me know your thoughts down below. All right, guys, if you're excited about the future of Nebraska football, you're excited about this season, I know I am. Hit that like button. Comment all your thoughts about yesterday's performance, the things that you were excited about, things that you're concerned about. I want to hear your thoughts down below. Hey, you've made this far. Once again, hit that like button and subscribe. As always, folks, go ahead and comment rule, and I will see you in the next one.